Hi guys, welcome to our talk. So it's called Gone Fishing, Why Do We Take the Bait? So I'm Raffi, I am the president of Cyber Women at Warwick. I'm currently a second year cybersecurity student at the University of Warwick.
I'm Rhiannon. I've just finished my final year doing cybersecurity and forensic computing at the University of Portsmouth. I was the president of the Cyber Women Portsmouth branch. I am now the Northern and Southern branch manager for the Cyber Women Group CIC.
Alright, so our talk today is going to explore the concepts and psychology behind phishing campaigns, as well as the impact of increasing the diversity of the cybersecurity industry, and how that can have an impact on the unintentional insider threats.
Thank you. So the tactics used in phishing campaigns are beginning to pivot. Egress reported that the use of attachment-based payloads detected by their Egress Defend has gone down from 72.7% in 2021 to only 35.7% in the first quarter of 2024. However, QR phishing, also known as quishing, has skyrocketed, making up 1.4% of email phishing payloads in 2021. And it has jumped to 12.4% in 2022, continuing at 10.8% in the first quarter of 2024. There's also been a rise in the number of payloadless attacks that rely solely on social engineering. So traditionally, the focus of cybersecurity is placed on technical defences. However, to defend against phishing, an understanding of human psychology is required. The ability to recognise tactics designed to manipulate emotions and cognitive biases is key to developing training and awareness. So, phishing exploits our innate tendencies that can override rational thought, such as trust, curiosity, fear, and a sense of urgency. So, take an email that creates a sense of urgency or fear. It can prompt the recipient to act quickly without rational thought. The psychological principle of trust highlights that as humans, we tend to lower our guard when we believe we are dealing with a reputable organisation. So, for example, this could be your bank or a service provider that you have an account with. This can be further exploited through the use of personal information to make this email appear credible. Another common tactic used by phishers is the manipulation of the principle of authority, with phishers posing as figures of authority such as senior execs and law enforcement. This leverages the human tendency to comply with requests from authority without question. So we will not second guess these emails straight off. So the susceptibility of individuals to phishing attacks is often rooted in cognitive bias. These biases are an inherent way of thinking that can skew judgment and decision making. One such bias is overconfidence, where individuals believe they are less likely to be deceived or that they are more capable of identifying phishing attacks. This then leads to a lower guard and thus the increased likelihood of falling victim. Another common bias that can affect the likelihood of falling for phishing attacks is the confirmation bias. This is where we give weight to information or scenarios that conform to existing beliefs or expectations. Context and timing are other key features that can influence the success of phishing attempts. So stressful situations can impair judgment and critical thinking, making individuals more vulnerable to deception. When stressed, the ability to meticulously analyse a situation diminishes. Thus, phishers may turn their campaigns to coincide with periods where individuals may feel tired and their mental resources depleted, such as at the end of the day, a period of rest, or during a situation that the company is undergoing that may put the employees under stress. Social proof is the psychological phenomenon of individuals copying the actions of others in an attempt to undertake behaviour in a given situation. So for this, attackers can create a false sense of security and legitimacy by claiming that others within your organisation have complied with their requests. The psychological sophistication of phishing attacks begs the question, how do we safeguard against them and an enemy that understands us so well? Education and awareness are the first steps, and an understanding of the psychology of social engineering and the tactics I've described should be used in the development of education and awareness to foster a healthy sense of skepticism and caution. As the fine line between the real world and the digital world continues to blur, so does the line between trust and deception. The onus is on us to remain vigilant, to question the too good to be true, and to foster a culture of cybersecurity awareness that can withstand the psychological onslaught of social engineering.
Also, don't scan QR codes that you don't know where they're coming from. I don't know if anybody actually did scan that QR code, but yeah, if you did or didn't trust it, it was just going to the Cyber Women Group's page, so there was no reason to actually distrust that one, but yeah. Right, okay. So, as detailed in the Cybersecurity Breaches Survey 2024, 84% of businesses and 83% of charities have fallen victim to a phishing attack between April 2023 and April 2024. So you can see the diagram here with it. This isn't the entire diagram, so if you do want to see all of the stats, do go and check out that report. It is very interesting. So for businesses, the average cost of a breach was £1,205, which rises up to about £10,830 for medium to large businesses, which are categorized as companies with over 50 employees. However, money is not the only way in which phishing attacks affect businesses. Threat actors can utilize phishing to gain access to business networks through means such as credential harvesting, which allows them to continue with their attack by attempting to laterally move through the network. So Cloudflare estimates that about 70% of cyber attacks actually start by exploiting employees through a successful phishing attack, primarily through the use of disinformation commonly found in phishing emails. So governmental organizations are most at risk, with 18% of organizations who fall victim to a phishing attack in 2021 to the 2022 period belonging to the government. So the next highest victims proportionally were tied between science and education, healthcare and manufacturing and industry, with all three categories representing about 8% of victims each. So one way that phishing attacks can negatively affect a business is through the use of internal and adversary internal threats actors. Sorry, I can't read my own handwriting there, and adversary in the middle attacks. So a threat actor might send a spear phishing email to select employees, so that if an employee falls for the phishing attacks, the threat actor can gain access to the business network through their accounts. So as well as the malicious attachments mentioned earlier, a threat actor can encourage users to click a link that directs them to a reverse proxy webpage that clones a reputable source and bypasses two-factor authentication to gain credentials. So these credentials can then be used by the threat actor to gain access to an organization's network and further their attack. So insider threats can also be created due to an individual within the organization by using the privileges that they gain whilst working for the company to inflict some damage to said company. So the average cost of an insider threat was about $701,500, which primarily is spent on containing the effect of that attack. So, however, the threat of an attack due to insider threat not being removed soon as, according to the 2023 Cost of Index Insider Risks Global Report, the number of insider threat attacks is increasing. One reason that phishing attacks are so prevalent is that they can target anyone. So generally it does take about 16 hours on average to craft a successful phishing email. However, the use of AI is drastically decreasing that time. So these AI-generated phishing emails can receive a lower click rate on average than emails solely created by humans, but emails that are first drafted by AI, then edited by humans, received about a similar click-through rate to the ones crafted solely by humans, according to a study done by academics in the US, and obviously saves them a lot of time in the long run. So, one of the main ways to mitigate successful phishing attacks and the risks that they are associated with is to regularly train employees on phishing attacks. So the training should cover the different types of phishing attacks, as well as the different methods that a threat actor might use in an attack, such as time pressure. So another important factor to include in training is to include a designated system that employees can report attempted phishing attacks to in a business setting, or sign them to the UK government page, which has relevant links there. So another way to support the phishing attack education program is through the use of educational simulations which mimic realistic attacks. So these simulations should be implemented before and after the training course, so that the pre-training results can act as an almost benchmark to ensure that the training was actually effective. However, it is important that this education is not limited to people who are working in a corporate setting, and that a good level of cyber education is given to the vast majority of the public. So, yeah.
So last month, Cyber Women at Portsmouth ran an awareness competition for schools. So we set out with the aim to understand the knowledge and the understanding of phishing techniques and the mitigations that pupils at school have, whilst also encouraging them to research and develop this awareness further. So on the screen, you will see our two winning posters, who actually haven't been told they've won yet. So this is the first time they've come out. They're finding out later today. So these are two winning posters that came out from school students in Portsmouth. We're obviously very proud of how they've done. But it did reveal that they had a basic knowledge of phishing techniques and their mitigations. However, the school students lacked information surrounding phishing variations that may be more likely to impact organisations rather than individuals. This kind of demonstrated that, they may not hold the awareness to identify more complex phishing techniques that may be aimed at their schools or future universities and businesses they were going to be working in. So it highlighted the need to increase the detail of phishing education, ensuring it covers emerging techniques alongside the traditional within the education system. However, careful consideration would need to be taken to ensure that this education and awareness that we are creating within the schools does not create the overconfidence bias mentioned previously. We don't want to create a next generation who think they can all identify phishing emails 100% of the time, because then we go back to the whole problem right at the very start. So the prevalence of phishing attacks within organisations highlights that education awareness is not just needed within schools, but at all stages of an individual's career, as Raffi said. The phishing education should be tailored to the audience, as the type of attacks encountered will vary depending on their industry, job role, and perceived technical literacy. So, as the actors continue to advance their phishing techniques, it's become more critical to have a broad range of perspectives and experiences to best detect, protect, and respond to events. A truly diverse team can approach problems from a different angle, uncovering unique solutions and identifying specific risks, vulnerabilities, and targets, with this insight being driven by the variance in their experiences, background, and cultural awareness. An understanding and embracing diversity within cybersecurity can transform our ability to understand, detect, and deter adversaries, not just within phishing scams, but in the industry as a whole. If we consider women in cybersecurity, the cybersecurity skills in the UK labour market 2023 reported that only 17% of the workforce identified as female. This was a 5% decrease from 2022, which demonstrates that although we are increasing the number of women in cyber and the diversity as a whole, we do need to work on the retention. How do we keep these people that are coming in the industry? We need more support, we need more initiatives. And diversity is a powerful tool that can only be accomplished if the industry better elevates the underrepresented groups into careers and opportunities. So one way to encourage more people to join the cybersecurity industry is through the use of the community clusters. This is because people such as especially younger students and those attempting to transition from other sectors into cyber are able to see people with a similar characteristics as themselves represented within the sector, and are therefore more likely to join and then stay within the sector. Cyber Women Group CIC was started life at Cyber Women at Warwick back in 2022, so still relatively new. It was founded by two students, Sophie Powell and Jenny McCulloch, who led a student-led initiative to promote diversity and equality. They did not expect it to grow to anywhere near what it is today. It was started off literally as two people running a branch in Warwick. However, they had so much interest from other universities, students and lecturers alike, that after graduating, so at 20 and 21, they walked into accountants to set up a CIC. They have now, in a year, developed from that one branch at Warwick to 8 branches across the UK. Those branches have over 50 exec members and 2 reps at 2 different universities. So with the rapid growth of the CIC, this week it is being announced that recent graduates and previous execs are joining Sophie and Jenny on the board to help aid and grow this initiative. So we've got 2 people coming on as branch managers. We've got a technical lead, alumni committee, and social media joining to make a board of 7.
Yeah, so thank you. So kind of continuing on with the theme of clusters. So it really does encourage people to, especially younger students and people transitioning into the field, to really stay in the field if they do see people with those similar characteristics. So out of 10 people who were asked in cybersecurity at University of Warwick, who all identified as women or non-binary, 7 people said that they were aware of Cyber Women at Warwick before coming to the university, either through offer holder days, open days, or just social media, said that they were aware of us and they had a positive impact on their decision to study cybersecurity. I would say it was 11 and 8 people, but I decided not to count myself in that, as I feel like that would be a little bit biased. So the other 3 people, they were not aware of us as an organisation beforehand, mostly because, say, they didn't attend these open days or offer holder days, but having come to the University of Warwick, have said that the branch has had a positive impact on them, and we've talked to other branches, and it seems like people are aware of us at these other universities, and that is how our other branches get started up, by people finding us, liking the work we do, and really are passionate about a similar cause to us. So, yeah. However, we are aware that we are obviously not the only group that is passionate about women's rights, about making sure people feel safe and comfortable within the industry. So we wanted to just kind of highlight some of the other amazing organizations that exist, some different clusters. So our logo is up on the top left there. These are not all of them. These were, I think we drafted this slide in about a minute, which just shows you how many wonderful organizations that are, that exist within the cybersphere. That also shows why there's so many related to, making sure that women are comfortable in the thing, because that is the area that we primarily work with. But there are a million others that do amazing work. So one of the organizations that we've worked with previously and hope to do more work with, and I'm sure you're all aware of them, is the Women in Technology and Cyber Hub, which is Ileana's branch. She came and helped us out at our cyber security conference in October of 2023, so our most recent conference, and thankfully stood in very last minute for us, as we had a panelist and a speaker drop out very last minute. So we are very thankful for them. That is.
Just pass over. So although Cyber Women groups, obviously we are called Cyber Women, we aim to be a fully diverse and inclusive community. So a number of our exec members identify as non-binary or male. We are not just open to females. Our events are open to everyone. So if you see one of our events, whether you're a school child, whether you're in industry, university student, feel free to come along, reach out to us. We're always looking to work with more people and to support anybody and everybody in the community. Along with all these amazing people here, plus many, many more in the UK, we want to work to improve that awareness, we're going out into schools. So STEMettes are very similar to us here, except they focus entirely on STEM as a whole. Whereas we go in and give workshops, pretty much mainly, around cybersecurity and a little bit of computer science in there as well. So yeah, there's some amazing ones out there. Steph at Neurocyber is working very closely with us as well to make sure that we're inclusive to anybody with a neurodiversity, and that we're not excluding anybody.
All right, so sorry guys, that was a much quicker talk than we actually anticipated. But yeah, does anybody have any questions at all?
So I go to a lot of schools and I do like a lot of people's classes and teach them, and a lot of people is very similar to cyber security. I found the young women are really, really good at lockpicking. And I personally find that these women are so capable of getting into cybersecurity. It's not approached the correct way. It's very mass focused, very coding focused. Have you found any particular exercises that they've just excelled in?
That's a very good question. So I'm going to speak primarily from a kind of Warwick perspective. I was education officer for the last year before stepping into the role of president, and then give to Rhi to give her perspective as well. A lot of the students in the kind of West Midlands areas that the University of Warwick has interacted with, we found that a lot of the students that we interacted with really love the kind of cryptography element of it. Cause with the different workshops we did, we found a lot of the guys, they liked the kind of AI, machine learning, deep learning, that kind of thing. But we ran a few workshops that was like a murder mystery sort of style that had a lot of cryptographic and steganographic and Morse code elements to it. And we found that, mind you, these are, for the most part, all these students are about year 8, year 9, so for comparison. And a lot of the students got really involved with kind of cryptographic elements. So you could see, like, kind of what you're saying, a lot of schools kind of focus their students on, say, like, maths. So you could see that the students were able to find that almost cross-link of, oh, this is like, say with the Caesar cipher, of finding that kind of logical link between how a cipher is formed. So personally, I think that's kind of like the links aren't almost highlighted enough between the different areas. And I think that is one way to kind of get more people interested in, because there are obviously the stereotypes around the area as a whole. So I think if those were highlighted, then maybe we'd be able to get more people interested in. Right?
Yeah, so we in Portsmouth had a very similar experience to Raffi. I think because schools obviously follow their curriculum so tightly, if you're in computer science, it's technical. You don't really get taught any of the non-technical, the lockpicking kind of side. You don't get the puzzle solving section of it. So that's where we've kind of come in and decided, you know, we want to be that one that says, hey, look, you don't have to be technical. You don't have to code to come and join the industry. You could go and do English at university. You don't even have to go to university, but you're still more than welcome. There's people in the industry that look just like you, who have had pathways similar to you. You do not have to be that technical. So I think it is very similar, and from speaking to other branches right across the country, but it is getting those workshops out that show them there's that non-technical side to it as well. But yeah.
Sorry, just an additional point that I thought of whilst Rhi was speaking. That's also kind of one reason that we want to highlight the kind of, say, also the cyber psychology element of cybersecurity, and the phishing element. So obviously it's a very serious threat in its own right, but I know that I've had loads of friends who are very interested in psychology, but very much think that, oh no, it's only the only clinical, only like you can be a psychologist or go into more of a specific science or like that element of it. So that's kind of another element that we're trying to bring to students is like, no, if you love psychology, but you also like cyber, or like you like the idea of tech, you can combine them, and you can really be like, you can go into like cyber training and be the person who is championing about cyber psychology if you choose that to be your niche. So
yeah. just add on to Raffi there as well. We have a number of branches that their execs are not computer science, they are not cybersecurity. Leicester has psychology students on their exec board who are doing exactly what Raffi has just said. They have done their psychology degree, or they are doing their psychology degree, and they have that interest in cyber. And that's precisely what they want to do, is come out and show people that, you know, that we're in cyber, but we are not technical. We are here to show you how we can link psychology and how we must link psychology into our defences. We cannot defend effectively without having that psychological understanding. So it's very important. And that's why kind of we've, like I say, we're inclusive to everyone, as are all the many other branches up there, and clusters that are doing similar work to us.
Again, to build on Ray, if you have not interacted with cyber women before, we like to yap. You get us started on a topic, we will talk your ear off for days. That's again one thing that we are trying to get into, I guess, really the next generation's brains. Well, next generation, I think they're still classified as our generation. Is that cyber does not exist in a vacuum, so very much you need to link it to other areas. I feel like we should wrap that bit up. Yeah, so does anybody else have any questions? No? Cool. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.